The Israelites again did what was evil in the sight of the Lord after Ehud had died. So the Lord sold them into the hands of Jabin, king of Canaan, who resided in Hazor. The commander of his forces was Sisera, who lived in Harosheth of the nations. Then the Israelites cried out to the Lord, because Jabin had 900 iron chariots, and he harshly oppressed them for 20 years. Deborah, a woman who was the prophetess and the wife of Labbath, was judging Israel at the time. It was her custom to sit under the palm tree of Deborah between Ramoth and Bethel, under the hill country of Ephraim, and the Israelites went up to her for judgment. She summoned Barak, son of Abinoam, from Kadesh in Naphtali. She said to him, "Hasn't the Lord, the God of Israel, commanded you, 'Go, deploy the troops on Mount Tabor, and take with you 10,000 men from the Naphtalites and Zebulunites? Then I will lure Sisera, commander of Jabin's forces, his chariots, and his army at the Wadi Kishon to fight against you, and I will hand him over to you." Barak said to her, "If you will go with me, I will go. But if you will not go with me, I will not go." "I will go with you," she said, "but you will receive no honor on the road you are about to take, because the Lord will sell Sisera into a woman's hand." So Deborah got up and went with Barak to Kadesh. Barak summoned Zebulun and Naphtali to Kadesh. 10,000 men followed him, and Deborah also went with him. Now Heber the Kenite had moved away from the Kenites, the sons of Hobab, Moses' father-in-law, and pitched his tent beside the oak tree of Zenonim, which was near Kadesh. It was reported to Sisera that Barak, son of Abinoam, had gone up Mount Tabor. Sisera summoned all his 900 iron chariots, and all his people were with him from Harodesh, from the nations, to the Wadi Kishon. Then Deborah said to Barak, "Move on, for this is the day the Lord has handed Sisera over to you. Hasn't the Lord gone before you?" So Barak came down from Mount Tabor with 10,000 men following him. The Lord threw Sisera, all his charioteers, and all his army into confusion, and the sword before Barak. Sisera left his chariot and fled on foot. Barak pursued the chariots and the army as far as Harosheth of the nations, and the whole army of Sisera fell by the sword. Not a single man was left. Meanwhile, Sisera had fled on foot to the tent of Jael, the wife of Heber the Kenite. Because there was peace between Jabin, king of Hazor, and the family of Heber the Kenite, Jael went out to greet Sisera and said to him, "Come in, my lord. Come in with me. Don't be afraid." So he went into her tent, and she covered him with a rug. He said to her, "Please give me a little water to drink, for I am thirsty." She opened a container of milk. She gave him a drink and covered him again. Then he said to her, "Stand at the entrance of the tent. If a man comes and asks you, 'Is a man here?' say no." While he was sleeping from exhaustion, Heber's wife Jael took a tent peg, grabbed a hammer, and went silently to Sisera. She hammered the peg into his temple and drove it into the ground, and he died. When Barak arrived in pursuit of Sisera, Jael went out to greet him and said, "Come in, and I will show you the man you are looking for." So he went in with her, and there was Sisera laying dead with a tent peg through his temple. That day God subdued Jabin, king of Canaan, before the Israelites. The power of the Israelites continued to increase against Jabin, king of Canaan, until they destroyed him. Most Old Testament judges seem very different from our modern concept of judges. Rather than arbitrate between right and wrong, they were more likely to be military leaders, delivering Israel from some foreign oppressor. Deborah, the only woman judge, seems like our modern judges. People came to her for wisdom and to settle disputes. Israel's military leadership should have been provided by its top general, Barak, but Deborah led when Barak failed to do so. Israel had forsaken God again, so the Lord sent the Canaanites to oppress his people and turn them back to him. It appears that God commanded General Barak to lead the Israelites against the Canaanite army, and their iron chariots led by the Canaanite general Sisera. Then there was those iron chariots, and Barak was afraid. Deborah, as a prophetess, reminded Barak of his commission to lead, but he was unwilling unless Deborah accompanied him. Because of his lack of faith, the glory of the battle would not go to Barak, but to God first and to the woman, Deborah and Jael. What would you do if someone in a position of leadership fails to lead? Deborah's first step, moved by the Spirit of God, was to remind the positional leader of his responsibility. Still, Barak refused to move unless Deborah went with him. How many godly women wish their men would lead as husbands and fathers? How many children wish their parents, either of them, would lead? How many Christians wish their shepherds would lead? Deborah's example is first to remind and then to accompany their weak leader, leading alongside them. Remember that Deborah is not concerned about her glory or credit, but rather about accomplishing God's mission. Don't ignore a failure to lead God's people in the church, the family, or elsewhere, but honor the positional leader by accompanying them and reminding them that it is ultimately the Lord who is accompanying them.